Hello guys and girls, so if you've made it this far to this section of my tutorial, I really want to appreciate you all for believing and sticking around with me. So if you're new here, don't be afraid to subscribe because I upload new tutorials on many programming languages every week. Okay, so the thing we're going to be working on today is working with Excel files using Python. You're going to learn about Excel files. If you don't have any idea of what an Excel file is, I'm going to get you guys through it, and also writing and reading to Excel files using an external module in Python. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so firstly you go to this place that you have to search and search CMD, and you see a command prompt window. So if you type it for Windows CMD, you see a command prompt. So you click on it and yeah, it's supposed to pop up. Yeah, something like this. So this is your command prompt. So in your command prompt you type pip install openpyxl. So if you have followed my other tutorials, you know the use of this pip is just like an Excel. It's just like when you want to run a package. Python is like Python's package manager or something. I don't know. So pip install openpyxl, it has like lots of external modules you can use to download in Python. Okay, so I'll just briefly explain to you guys what openpyxl is a popular Python language. Is used to write, read, and also manipulate Excel files, XLSX, XLSM, and many other things. So it's used mostly for like data analytics, but mostly it's Pandas actually. But in this tutorial, I'm going to be using the openpyxl. So most people can use Pandas as well, but I think I understand this one better. So it's used for mostly for automation. So it's good automation tasks that like involves creating and also modifying Excel files and many other things like reporting and so on. So that's basically what we use openpyxl to do, and it's very cool with Excel. So before this tutorial starts, once you have done this, I'll just briefly have to explain to you guys what an Excel sheet is. So if you don't have any idea of what it is, I'll just briefly explain it. Okay, so this is an Excel sheet. This is an Excel sheet actually. I just created one, so I don't want you guys to see my file explorer, so I just created one. Like, yeah, so this is my Excel sheet. So you can see, I'll just briefly explain it. So you can see this little cell right here. It's called cells. It has rows and it has columns as well. So we have this first cell. It's called, so if you mix it up, you can see the highlighted green areas. That is the way you can know what you're working with, the highlighted green areas. So you can see this one, this A and 1. So this cell is known as A1. A1, this cell in particular is known as A1. So it's very useful, and you're going to have to understand it, how Excel sheets work, before you're going to be able to write to it, because there's no way you don't understand it and you can be able to understand what I'm going to be doing in this tutorial. So we have A1, so this is the first cell block. So you can go to the next one. The green part, the ones that are in color green, is what it's indicating. So it's A2. So we also have A3, we have A4, A5. So that's what this cell block is. A1, this block, A2, just these blocks that I'm going around. So we now have this. Okay, you can see as it changed. So this block is called B1. So what is this block called? It's called B2. So if you got it, so you are getting a great understanding on it. So we have B3 and also C1, C2, C3, and many other things. So again, the another thing I want to show you guys is the sheet. So we have sheet 1. This sheet 1 is, yeah, so this indicating this first sheet we are working with. So if you create like a new sheet like this, you can see it's called sheet 2. Okay, so and you can also keep creating sheet 3, sheet 4, sheet 5, and probably we're going to be working with sheet 1 for this tutorial. So that's it. So that's just what I wanted to show you guys. So we have sheet 1, sheet 2, and that's how you have to know like how you are going to use to indicate your sheet. Like now if I should write, let me say I write 1 in this my sheet. So this one is sheet 1, like this. So you can see we are still in sheet 1. This one has like green lines on it, and then if you go here, you see there's nothing in sheet 2. So you can write to sheet 1, you can write to sheet 2, but you just have to indicate to Python. So just keep that in mind because we're going to be using it for this tutorial. Okay, so now let's get started. Okay, so this is our to-do list for this tutorial. We have, I'll just quickly save this. Then this is our to-do list. We have just 9 to-dos. We are going to be importing, creating, reading, and writing to an Excel sheet and cells as well. So I just hope you didn't skip because I just explained earlier what an Excel sheet is and explained a little bit on how an Excel sheet is. So at the end, we're going to have a practice that we'll do together. Okay, so to test your understanding of how you learned today's tutorial. So the first thing we're going to be doing is import the external modules. Don't get confused at all because I'm going to be starting from scratch and explain everything so you understand it very well. So the first thing we're going to do, since you remembered in the beginning of this tutorial, we used pip to install openpyxl. So if I should next we have to import it. So import openpyxl for this. Then the next thing, we can't just work with this. We need to show openpyxl that we're trying to work with a workbook. Okay, so then I'll just say from openpyxl imports workbook. So you see it's not camel case, no Pascal case, it's just like normal writing workbook as a normal whole. You not see the B is not like capital letter or anything like this. No, it's like small letter, so you don't make mistakes. So you can get an error with making some mistake like that. So the next thing we're going to do, so don't get confused. I'll be showing you guys what this workbook is. It's just like it's the top level container for an Excel file. It's represent the entire spreadsheet, like the cells, the data, many things. So you understand it, don't just get confused. So we'll create a new Excel file. So to make it more understandable, I'm going to be using a very long variable naming convention to make you guys understand it. So I'm going to name this one the variable my workbook. Yeah, so this is the variable my workbook. So if you see it, you understand, oh, so this is what we are working with. Yeah, or let me just name it Charles workbook so you guys can understand it more better. So I'll say Charles workbook like this. So Charles workbook is equals, so I'll call the workbook this workbook. It's used to activate the Excel file. You still understand the use of it. So now call the workbook we imported earlier. It's just like, I'll call it like a function like this. So you see my variable Charles workbook equals workbook. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is then I'll call this one Charles. Why I'm using my name is so you guys can indicate when we are going to be using it so you don't get confused. So I'll call this one Charles sheet like this. Charles sheet. So this one now we're going to be using it to indicates the workbook, the part of the data we're going to be working with, the part of the sheet we're going to be working with. In my earlier video, I showed you guys about like, so I showed you guys something like this, like sheet 1 and also sheet 2 like this. So I showed you guys something like this, and yeah, that's it. So I showed you guys something like this. So yeah, so you understand what sheet is. We have sheet 1 and sheet 2, so there you can create like lots of sheets in Excel. So the next thing we're going to show is the active sheet. We're going to call the, since we have made this variable, we assigned it to like the workbook method like this. So we're going to say my sheet is equals, I'll now call Charles work. So I might be a little bit slow because this doesn't help like finish it. It doesn't have like any completion or the completion thing. So Charles workbook dot active. So we are going to call the workbook that is active because we're going to be writing to it. So the next thing we're going to be doing is I'm going to now call the Charles sheet, and you are going to still understand why I'm using my name, so you guys can indicate when I'm going to be using a particular variable. So I'm using my name as the variable condition, like naming convention in this tutorial, so you guys can understand it. So I'll call this one Charles sheet dot title. So this title now is what I'm going to be calling my workbook title. We will soon understand when we start writing to an Excel sheet. So title is equals, and is equals my sheet like this. Okay, so this is the title. You can write a simple text to a cell and also open an existing Excel file as well. So you can write a simple text to a cell and also open an existing file. So the next thing we're going to be doing is, this is the first thing, we have created a new Excel file. So this is the workbook. We call the workbook function. the active one, and then we give it the title. Don't be scared. We are going to say all this thing when we start running the code. So the first thing we're going to be doing is write a simple text to a cell. So now, how to write a simple text to a cell? We're now going to call the sheet. Since you see, we indicated that my child's sheet, we activate the workbook using, because we have already assigned the workbook to a workbook. Then we activated the workbook. Now we give it a title of my sheet. Okay, so now the first thing we're going to be doing is to write a simple text to a cell. So to write a simple text to a cell, we're going to like say sheets, sheets, we're going to call it sheets A1. So this sheet now, not like sheets like Charles, no, so you guys don't get confused. Charles sheet like this. So I'll call it Charles sheet A1. So what it indicates that we're going to be writing to the A1. I explained to you guys in the beginning of this video what A1, A2 means. So we're going to be writing to the A1, the first section of the sheet, the first cell of the Excel spreadsheet. So what we're going to be writing to, it's just like a normal string. You can write numbers, you can write booleans, but we're going to be writing just a normal string. So I'll now call the string hello Charles like this. So this is what we're going to be writing to the Excel sheet. So the next thing we're going to do, we have to indicate the file path so it can understand what we're going to be writing to. Okay, so then this is the sheet. I call the sheet A1 equals hello Charles, then open an existing file path, existing Excel file. So what I'm going to be doing is let me say, yeah, so I'll not call the file path, I'll just call it, I'll name a variable called, I'll just call it Charles file path. So this is my file path. So I'll just give a string, then I'll go back. So as you can see, I have a file path. I created an Excel sheet. So I'll just right click on it and I'll go to properties, then I'll copy the location. You can see the name Charles Excel practice, so don't forget it. So I'll just copy the location. You do the same thing. So I'll do Control C and I'll copy it, and then I'll go back to our exercise we are working on. So then the file path I've named Charles file path is equals what are we going to be working with. So Charles file path would be, I will say Control V. So this is the Excel sheet. So you can see the backslash in Excel, it's always indicates like a escape sequence. So like this, it would give you an error if you run your program like this. So firstly, before we adjust the program, I'm going to do like this, and I'll now call it Charles, what's the name, Charles Excel practice, I guess, like this. Yeah, and don't forget your document.xlsx, yeah, your file extension. So that's it. So this what you have to put in your file path. Since we want to write this in our A1 cell, we want to write hello Charles there, we have to tell Excel the file path that we're going to, the file we want to write it to. So this is the file path. So this is my file path. But right now, if I run this code, it's going to give an error because I need to, like, either you give double backslashes to indicate that, okay, you want this to be read as a normal string. So you can give double backslash like this. And am I missing anyone? No. Or you can just remove all the backslashes and put R. You can remove all the double backslashes and put R in front of it. Like, you can just delete all the backslashes, something like that. Or the, like, what I mean is you can just delete this, delete this, delete this, and delete this. So you can use it like this. So this R means raw string. So it still does the same thing as escaping all this like this. So it still does the same thing, but I'll just escape it because I think that would be best. But the R is also cool, but I'll just escape it. Okay, so backslash, I'll just escape this, and escape this. So I'll save it. And then the next thing we're going to be doing is I would just go down and we'll have to save our workbook. So now I'm going to call this child's workbook that we gave this function of workbook, and I'll call it Charles workbook dot save. So now what are we going to be saving? We're going to be saving Charles file paths. So this is what we're going to be saving. Okay, so then the first thing we're going to be doing, let's see if this works out, and I hope it works out actually. So the first thing we're going to be doing is let's run the program. So if I should run, you can see, just bear in mind, hello Charles, that's what we're trying to write to the program. So if I should run the program, run, I've saved it. So you have to save yours if you're working with Ideal. And after run, you click on, why is this thing like this? Then you click on run module, or you can click F5 as well. So I'll just say run module. Hold on. Okay. Nothing happens. Yeah, nothing happens, but it just root to the file, and it just root to the file. Yeah. So that's it. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we can also use an if statement to indicate if it wrote, but for now we are not going to be using it in this tutorial, but we are going, since it's just a run, it's entered the new line, it means that it's run. Okay, so the next thing, I'll just cancel this. Then you can see I'm back to the file again. So if I click on the file, oh, this. Okay, they want me to upgrade to pro version, but I'm not going to be buying this right now. Not now, actually, because I don't have any use of it for now. So the next thing, I just hope you guys can see it, see the hello Charles, it wrote to the A1 cell. I don't know, it's looking like they're covering it with this buy pro, but I can't buy it. I don't know. I can't just buy it. So you can see the hello Charles we try to write, it's in this A1 cell block like this. So that is just it. So it's how to write from a workbook. So you indicate, so you can just do the same thing like this. Since you can see the hello Charles, you can still do something similar to it, like you can do B1, a text, a integer, or a boolean, like anything you want to write to the file, it also works out as well. So for now, we just wrote this hello Charles. So if I should write another thing, let me just say Charles sheets, and I'll call which place. Let's say we want to write it to like B to A2. Yeah, like let's say A2. So we want to write something to like the A2. It's, then we are going to call it like equals this. So we have written something to the A1 cell. Now the A2, we're going to say is the best. Okay, hello Charles is the best. So now if I save this and run this program, so if I run the program, it waits. Yeah, now it enters a new line. That means it's written successfully. So now open our Excel file again. So if I click on it, I hope it wrote something. Hold on. Yeah, hello Charles is the best. I hope you guys can see it because there's no way I'm buying this. So hello Charles is the best. You can see it in A1, we have hello Charles. In A2, we have is the best. So you can see that's a very good and simple way to write into Excel file. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is yeah, we have saved it and you have seen how it works. Next thing we're going to be doing is to read, because it won't be fun if you can write to an Excel file but you can't read to an Excel file. So now we're going to be reading like the text from the Excel file. For instance, let's say how am I going to name this? I'll just call it my let me just say read value. Wait, oh, how will I make the naming convention cool? I'll just say read value. I don't know any other naming convention I can use to it. So I'll say read value is equals, then we're going to call my sheet Charles sheet, and I'm going to call the read value so we can read the data from the Excel file. So if I write read value and call my Charles sheet, and then which value do we want to read, which cell, you have to indicate it. So the same way we are writing, but this one is a little bit different. So I'll call the Charles sheet and I'll call the A1. So we want to read from A1. So the A1 is equals, so I'll call, no, yeah, to read for the value. So we say read the value is equals, we are assigning this variable to Charles sheets A1 dot value. So this thing, you can't just say Charles Street A1. No, you have to indicate dot value. I don't know why it's like that, but you just have to indicate the dot value, because that's why I also use red value as the naming convention for my data type, for my variable, I mean to say. So Charles Street A1, we are trying to read from A1 dot value. So if I should go down and I will now click on, then let's print the value. Friends, remember our value in our Excel sheet was hello Charles for A1. like this. So if I should print the value, I'll just print something cool, like, let me say, so value in A1 is read value. So now if you should run this program, then our ideal, we have to read the value from the Excel sheet. You can use it to read lots of values. You can, it's very good for automation in Python, data automation in Python. So if I should save this, Control S, and run this program, let me see, I hope I don't make any mistake. Yeah, so if I run this program, so it's saved. Yeah, the value in A1 is hello Charles. So you can see, look at it very well. So it can read. So it's a very fun thing. Once I've done this thing, you see, wow, I can do a lot of things with Python. But you can also use Pandas as well. But I'm using openpyxl for this. So we have hello Charles. You can see value in A1 is hello Charles. Yeah, it just works like that. So the next thing we're going to be doing is, yeah, so now you can see we can read a value from an Excel file. So the next thing we're going to be doing is modification, because in everything you have to like know how to write, you have to read, and also like update or like modify your data or something, because someone can give you like a wrong name, or maybe someone wanted to spell your name and wanted to add it and you spelled Charles like this, you have to modify it, right? So you don't make mistake. Yeah, so that's it. So now to change the value of a simple cell, let's say we want to change the A1 value to from hello Charles to hello Charles GPT or something. So I'll now go into the A1, I mean to say. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to change the value. I will just call my Charles sheet, and I'll call the A1 value. It's just an easy thing, like you can do it easily. So you call the A1, you indicate the value you want to change. So Charles sheet A1 is equal. So what do you want to change the value to? So we want to change it to, let me say, hello Charles GPT. Or let's just make it high so you guys can see the change. So hi Charles GPT, like this. So it's just an easy thing. So I called the child streets and I indicated that it's A1 I wanted to change, and then assign it a new value, just like normal variables and stuff like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is, again, we have to save the file. So I'll just copy this and I'll have to save it. So I'll call the workbook and I'll save it. Yeah, like this. So I'll now go under here and I'll save the file again. Okay. And then let's print something so you can see it this time around. So I'll now print. So after it's run this program, because Python is interpreted, yeah, interpreted, I forgot what to say, interpreted something, but yeah, it can't run this print if it doesn't read, if it doesn't do the work, like change the thing, if it doesn't run its function. So I'm going to print value in A1 updated successfully, like this. Okay, so I'll close the print like this. Yeah, so now you see, when we run this program, once we update the value of our A1 from hello Charles to hi Charles GPT, it will now print in the console that have been updated successfully. So if I should save this and run this module like this, run module, and wait, yeah, hello Charles, value in A1 is A1 updated successfully. Oh, I have a fun thing to do. Maybe we can just read the value. Yeah, we can just read the value. So I'll just copy this, read a simple text from a file. So I don't have to be showing you guys that blurry pay for pro something. So if I should read this text, I'll just do Control V. So now we are going to read value is equals, I don't know if I'm getting it well. Read value is equals this. Yeah, I think it would work. So if I should now, yeah, I think it would work. No, let's just print the stuff already, since we already have read value. I don't know if this would work like this. Okay, let's save it and let me run it. I hope I don't get an error. So the next thing we're going to be doing, wait. No, I think we have to reassign it again. So I'll now say read value, Control C, and I'll have to like reassign it. Maybe, yeah, Let me see if it works this way. So if I should run this program, hold on. Yeah, cool. So you can see the first value in our A1 is hello Charles. Then the value in A1 updated successfully. Now the value in A1 is hi Charles GBT. So you can also see it in your Excel sheet as well. You know that we changed it from hello Charles to hi Charles GBT like this. So I can also still show you guys my Excel sheet just quickly. So if you look at my paying this, you can see hi Charles GBT is the best, same thing. Like that, just basically how to read and write to Excel file. Okay, let's continue with our our tutorial. So the next thing we're going to be doing is there are lots of things you can use to do. You can play around with it. So we still have like 2 more things before we just call it, we start our practice. So the first thing is simple use of a loop to write to simple. I'll just delete this so we don't get like complicated stuff. So I'll just delete all the prints so we don't print anything in the console for now. I think so. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be printing anything. Yeah, let's just delete everything like this. Yeah, so let's not print anything so it doesn't get confusing. So the next thing we're going to do is to use a for loop to write to an Excel file. So this is the step 7. So what we're going to be doing is, if you have not checked out my for loop video, make sure to check it out. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to be doing is for every row in range, let's say we want to write from range 1 to 5. Yeah, from range 1 to 5, like A1, A2, A3, A4, and A5, and stuff like that. What I'm going to be doing is, then I'm going to do for no, I call it row. I'll just make the variable like more understandable so you guys can know when I used the variable. For every row in range 1 to 6, because we are trying to get from 1 to 5. So I'll do 1, yeah, 6, because make sure you check out my for loop video. I don't want to start explaining for loop in this tutorial. So for every row, I just made it the naming convention cool in range 1 to 6. So I'll now do this and click on this and say Charles sheets. Then I'll now indicate. So which row are we trying to get? So what I'm going to use is I would use an F string. So this would be cool. So I'll now use an F string. Make sure you check out my string manipulation video to understand how an F string works. So Charles sheet would be F string, and I'll now call A and now indicate the row that we're trying to write to. A and every row like this. Every row like this. So yeah, so I was just explaining it in a bit. So the next thing we're going to be doing is then every row we are going to be calling it is what are we going to be writing to it. We're going to be writing to it. Let's just write the row number. Then I'll now use another F string and write the number. So I'll now call, we are going to be writing number of, I'll just give space a little bit, and now call every row. Wait, don't get confused yet, I'm going to explain it. So the next thing we're going to do is, after this, I'll now go outside the for loop and I'll copy the save so it will save successfully. Make sure you're saving your data. So I'll save it and I'll go here. Since we have already indicated our 5 parts, Charles 5 parts, then I'll now go here and let's print something, because if it doesn't run, Python won't tell it's done successfully. So I'll just say numbers written successfully like this. I don't know if I spelled it correctly. Okay, I missed an S. Successfully. Then, oh, what was that? Yeah, cool. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'll just cover it up like this and save. Okay, let me just briefly explain it before we run the program. So for every row, I call it every row so you guys can know when I used it in this program. So for every row in range 1 to 6, so it's going from 1 to 5, A1, A2, A3, A4, and A5. So Charles sheet, if you can see how we are doing our value, how we wrote to text, Charles sheet A1 equals this. You can see how we did it, right? That's the same thing I'm trying to do here. So for every row, it will write A. So A, the value of every row, let's say that every row is 1, it's right A1 number 1. The value of every row is 2, A2 number 2, A3 number 3, A4 number 4, and so on. That's how it just goes. So if I should run this program, I'll just do run run module, and we wait for it. Oh, yeah, so it's, you see numbers written successfully. So I'll just clear this up, and now I'm back to my Excel spreadsheet. I hope it wrote something. Yeah. So you can see it's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. So that's how to use like a for loop to write stuff to your Excel spreadsheet. So you can see number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. So that's basically the stuff we are doing in this tutorial. A1, number 1, A2, number 2, A3, number 3, A4, number 4, and A5. Okay, let's get started. Next thing would be, yeah, so that's basically everything for now. So the next step, I missed this step 8. So the next one we're going to be doing is to use a simple for loop to read. Okay, we're going to be using it to read all the, you see our Excel files that they are asking me to pay for, but I won't pay for it. It has number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Okay, what if you want to read from the Excel file using a for loop? Okay, now let's read something out. So firstly, I'll just print, let me say, let me print something so we can know when it starts reading. So I'll now say something like reading numbers from Excel, like this. Okay, so if I should, oh, I forgot to close this. Yeah, like this. So reading numbers from Excel. Where's this? Yeah. So the next thing we're going to be doing is, you know how we read just a single file, we're going to call the value. So that's how we're going to do. So I'll call the every row as well. For every row in range 1 to 6, that means we're trying to say from 1 to 3, 4, 5. What we're going to be reading is, let's say we'll print, so we can see it in the console, print Charles sheet. So now we have to indicate something, then dot value. So before I will show you what we're going to be indicating. So this is it. So you can see for every row in range 1 to 6, so we are trying to read all the things from our Excel. So you can see how we try to read just a single value. So we indicated like A1 dot value. So we read the value of the thing. So now we're going to print Charles sheet dot value. So which part do we want to read? We want to read the A1, we want to read the A2, A3, A4, and A5 as well. So what we're going to be doing is, I'll now say, I'll use an F string. So I'll do F like this, and then I'll now call A, and I'll now call every row like this. So you can see A1, A2, as it's iterating, it just keeps giving all the rows like this. So every row dot value. So if I save this and run this program like this, run module, hold on, you can see it. So okay, it have written the numbers successfully, reading numbers from Excel. So it's read with number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Okay, if you're confused on where these numbers are coming from, this is where they're coming from. Okay, so don't be confused. So we wrote something to our Excel file, and now we have read the thing we wrote to our Excel file. So it's crazy, it's cool to know how to do cool stuff like that. Okay, so this is the last thing. These are practice exercise. We are done for reading and writing to Excel file. Just the basics. Actually, you can play around with it and do more cool stuff. So this the practice exercise for this tutorial. So if you read it through, you do it yourself and check if you have a great understanding on it. Okay, I'll give you guys time. Okay, so that's basically it. So let's get started. Notes, please. I'm going to be using my own way of writing the thing, so it might not be the same way you used to derive the answer that I would use, but I'll just make it basics of everything I went through in this tutorial. So before we get started, I'll just paste all the things we need, like not like the answer, just the things we worked with, like our step 1, step 2. So we have to import the openpyxl and import workbook. Then I'm going to still use my same sheet and my same file path for this. So let's read the instruction briefly. So I'll just cancel these steps, and I'll just cancel it so it doesn't confuse you guys. I just needed to import the thing and also remember my file path and stuff like that. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is, so let's read through the exercise. So create a new sheet called fruits. So when solving a problem, you have to like read it step by step and understand it before writing any code. So now the first thing we're going to do is, they said that we should create a new sheet called fruits, and yeah, I will not be doing that. I think I'll just be working with my child's Excel practice.xls. So, but to make it more cool, you can also create like a new sheet for yourself like that. So Yeah, so that's it. So the next thing we're going to be doing is then they now say use a for loop to write 5 fruits, apple, banana, etc. in column B. You know, firstly we are working with column A. Now we're working with column. We are going to be working in the column B, one B1. We are working with A1, A2, A3. Now we're going to try to write 5 fruits to B1. So I'm going to be using the same Excel file actually. So the next thing is yeah, then read back the 5 fruits. Okay, this thing is what we have done in this video, so I'll just quickly do it. So there's something I wanted to show you guys, and it's just like, let's say we imported something. We also have like a function like this. We also have a function like, let me say I have Charles workbook is equals open pyxl dot load workbook. Then you can put your 5 parts there or something, so you can see. Let's see. So this one now, it's this load workbook. Basically what it does is it helps create like a workbook in case we can't create like an Excel workbook. So if you want, like, so let's say we have, I'll just cancel this. So let's say we want this workbook like now, but we want to change it to like fruits.xls. So you can just paste the same 5 parts, and it helps modify your, it helps help you create a new workbook. So but we won't be using this. So also you just know that we have a function called dot load workbook. Okay, so the next time I'll just cancel this like this. So and then the next thing we're going to be doing is, now the first time, since we have done the, we have created a new sheet called fruits. So we are going to use the for loop to write 5 fruits, apple, this, a for loop. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is, wait, hold on, we have to like indicate the list. Yeah, so I'll just call it, or let me just make it more understandable. I'll call it my fruit. Since we have already opened the workbook, saved the workbook and everything, no need for that. Imported our open and workbook. So I'll just say, and so I'll just say fruits, my fruits list is equal, so I'll call a list of 5 fruit. They said 5 fruit, right? So we'll say apple, oh god, what am I writing? So I'll say apple like this, and banana like this, and cherry, and what else? What should we use? Let me say mango as well. So I'll say mango and orange. Yeah, so these are my 5 fruits. Orange like this. So that's it. So the next thing we're going to be doing is, they said after create like a sheet fruit, okay, we don't have to do this. We have to loop through 5 fruits in column B. So the next thing we're going to be doing is loop through 5 fruits in column B. So what we're going to be doing is, so I'll just call like a row number or something. So how are we going to be writing to column B? And that would be, I'll call a row number and I'll just make it like 1. So row number. So this is not that necessary actually. This is not that necessary actually. So a row, I'll call the row number and I'll just make it 1, since we are going to be working with lists and writing to an Excel sheet. We want to write all these data to the Excel sheet. So I'll just name a variable called 1, so it can do like B1, B2, B3, B4, and many other things. Okay, so this one now is, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different because I want to use like an enhanced for loop, just a normal for loop to loop through the list, not like looping through the, you understand. You still understand when we start. Like, I'll make you guys understand when I continue. Let me just continue with something like that. So for, I'll just call it for every fruit, so it can be understandable. For every fruit in my fruit, so you can name the every fruit anything. You can name it fruit, you can name it fruits, you can name it anything X, Y, Z, anything. But I just want it to be like clear. For every fruit in my fruits list, so what we're going to be doing is, then I'll now call our sheet. So what's our sheet? Charles sheet. So I'll now say Charles sheets at which, sorry, I need square braces, so like this. So at what, so we want to write like b1, b2, b3, b4. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use an f string as we used earlier. So I'm going to call b and indicate the row number. So as it's iterating through every fruit, it's going to be writing it to the row number. So it starts with 1 because initially our row number is 1. So row number, so it will go 1, 2, 3, 4 to it adds everything in our fruits list. So that's not the end, but we are still working on it. So fruits, for we'll add a row number and I'll now call it equals. So the row number will be equals every fruit. So every fruit will be apple, banana, cherry, and so on. So every fruit like this. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we are going to increment the row number like this. Row number plus 1. Sorry, plus equals 1. Sorry, 1 like this. If you don't understand what this is, it's just like basically saying row number is equals row number plus 1 like this, but we'll stick with the old one. So like this, yeah. So it's just the same thing. So the next thing, so after going through every fruit as the row number, it keeps increasing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how to write to an Excel file, like using a for loop, like using a list, writing to a list and a for loop or something, a for loop for it. So the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to save the file, and then I'll have to copy this like this. So we have to save the file. If I should go down here, we'll save it because you have to save your file. So since we indicated it in the beginning, we can just save it without indicating the second one again. Make sure it's outside your for loop. So the next thing we're going to do is read back the 5 fruits using a for loop and print them to the console. Okay, so now to read back the 5 fruits, it's actually very easy. So the next thing we're going to do is the same way we did our reading from 5. Let us print something in the beginning and say reading fruits from Excel like this. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is for every row, I'll just call it every row so it will be understandable, in range 1 to 6, what we're going to do is then we'll print, what are we going to be printing? Chars, sheets, and I'll use, sorry, I need this square braces, then I'll use an F string and I'll say B row, B every row, I mean to say every, sorry, every row like this. So I'll cover it and close this. Don't worry, don't be confused, I'll explain it when I'm done writing it. So value and close this. Yeah, cool. So that's it. So that's basically all the thing we need to know. So we have a list, Apple. So I'll just delete this. I'll just delete this like this. And just keep only these ones. So we have a list, apple, banana, cherry, mango, and orange, and so we have a row number, it's 1. So for every, we're iterating through the list. So if you don't understand how lists work, you can check out my list videos. So for every fruit in my fruit list, so for all the whole fruits, apple, banana, cherry, mango, and this, so it's going to be writing it to the row number. So row number is 1. So if it's b1, it writes every fruit as it's iterating every fruit, b1, b2, b3, and it's getting all the value of every fruit. And we're also incrementing the row number for every iteration. Okay, so we save it. So the next thing we are doing is, after saving it, then the next thing we have to do is to read back the 5 fruits. So to read the 5 fruits, we'll also reading fruits from Excel. Also dot, 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 dot. So it can be like reading something. So for every row in range 1 to 6, so since it's just 5 fruits, it will do 1 to 5. So 6 is always excluded in a for loop in Python and many other programming languages as well. So print, so my sheets, then b, then the row and the value. So if it's in 1, it's a b1 and the value. If it's in 2, b2 and the value, and so on. But it doesn't reach 6 because 6 is excluded. If I should save this, Control S and run this program. So you see run module. Hold on. Oh, I made mistake. Sorry. So I'll just cancel this. Sorry, everyone. I think I made mistake somewhere. Yeah. Where's the mistake? Um, uh, yeah, I forgot to put curly braces and I used this. Yeah, there's it. So I don't know why I just make mistake. Yeah, sure. So the next thing is, so we run it, it doesn't give an error. So you see it's read all the fruits from Excel: apple, banana, cherry, mango, and orange as well. So if you're saying, where did these fruits came out, or where did you read these fruits from? Okay, I'll just show you guys. So if you see our Excel sheets, you can see the fruit is right there. Wait, hold on, it's still loading. Hold on. Yeah, you can see apple, banana, cherry, mango, and orange. But since it doesn't like run our last program, you can see it just override our A1, A2, A3, A5, and stuff. It now routes our B, apple, banana, cherry, mango, and orange. So so that's basically all the basic things you need to know in writing and reading to Excel and working with Excel files. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, your feedbacks help me create better content for you all. And see you in the next tutorial.